Sumit, you're so confident. I really enjoy your energy. I love your energy. I wish I could speak like you. You sound like a grizzly bear. Please shut up. Please stop talking. Out of all these comments, which one am I going to remember for the rest of my day? Yes, it's the negative one. Why? Because your brain wasn't designed to keep you happy or at peace. That's why whenever I try to do meditation, I just keep looking at the clock every 10 seconds. So, what was your brain designed for? Your brain was designed for one simple goal: to survive, to keep you alive. But the definition of survival changed over time. Before, survival meant for our ancestors, you had to fight off tigers and you had to run from jungle wolves. But today, survival means staying away from horrible YouTube comments and social disapproval. But here is the thing: our brain perceives the act of being judged and feeling judged equivalent to being attacked to a tiger, which is a problem because as societies evolved, our brain never did. So that is something we cannot change. But today, in this TED talk, I'm going to teach you something that will help you deal with these feelings of judgment, to deal with your emotions. And honestly, we all should learn this as a society. And the moment we do this, what will happen? There will be no wars, there would be no hatred, there would be no violence. I'm talking about mastering our emotions. And how do we do this? We do this with 3 simple words. First, we redefine, then we reinvent, and then we rise. But before I even tell you how all of this works, let's go back 10 years ago. Let me just rewind the clock. 10 years ago, I had extreme social anxiety to the point where if I was sitting in a room alone and I was sweating because of Bangalore summer, I could not even turn the fan on. I was so anxious. And of course, being a skinny kid with glasses back then, a skinny, tall kid, I became someone easy to bully. And honestly, it kept getting worse by the day. In fact, I remember one day I was just coming to my desk, opening my bag, and I found a bunch of gravel and a bunch of rocks over there. And everyone in the class was laughing at me. And I could not breathe. My heart started thumping, and I had to run to the washroom to save my face. And I washed my face and tried to grasp a breath of air. And it did not help that my parents were divorced, and we kept moving from city to city again and again and again. It had become so bad that I started blaming myself for everything that happened to me. I blamed myself for the divorce. I thought there was something wrong with me. I blamed myself because we kept moving from city to city to city. Why? Am I broken? How do I fix myself? What is wrong? I also kept blaming myself for the bullying I faced. I thought they're bullying me, there must be some reason. Because why is nobody else in my class getting bullied? Why only me? While I never found the answer to this, but just like every beautiful Bollywood movie, there came a girl. Her name was Narayani. And she was the only one in the whole classroom who treated me like a person. She befriended me, she believed me, she never judged me. She said, Sumit, you have so many great ideas. Why do you never share it with the world? In fact, a lot of my classmates came up to her and said, you see that weird kid? Don't be friends with him. He is very weird. Stay away from him. But she didn't care. She did not listen to it at all. And we did become friends. And naturally, I was so grateful to have her as my friend. So what did I do? I wanted to tell her how grateful I was for this. But just like a protagonist waiting for the right moment in a movie to tell the news, I waited. I waited for a week. The week became a month became an entire year, and it was unbearable. But then what happened? We moved cities again. So I never got the chance to even tell her how I felt. And of course, then what happened was I had this suffocating pain in my chest, this unbearable pain. This did not go even after I visited doctors. It just wouldn't leave me. It lingered with me for 2 whole years. What was this pain? One day, when I was just so done with it, I couldn't sleep. I had constant panic attacks. I remember sitting in a garden bench, closing my eyes, and asking myself, what are you feeling right now? Why is this pain not going away? I thought, and then a voice in my head said, maybe this is the feeling of regret because you regret so many people mistreating you, so many people making a fool of you. Maybe this is the feeling you're feeling. And you were so afraid of rejection all your life that, of course, you feel this way. You deserve to feel this way. You are responsible. But I can't feel this feeling. I can't stay with it. How do I get rid of it? I thought. And then the voice told me, whenever you were afraid of rejection, you got this feeling, your heart pounding, everything throbbing. Why don't you try getting rejected as many times as possible? And this is the day I redefined my story. But before we even understand what happened next, let us zoom out a bit. So let's do a very simple exercise. Before this, I'll tell you how emotions work really quickly. So first, we have an interpretation, then we identify with it, and then we keep repeating that story again and again and again. So interpretations can be different even if events are completely neutral. Anyway, so let's say you and I saw a car accident, and it was a horrible car accident. But you thought to yourself that, okay, this car accident is pretty bad, I'm going to drive safer. But I looked at that same car accident and said, oh my God, I am never ever driving ever again. Event was same, but our interpretation was different. So can everyone just quickly close your eyes and visualize a painful memory you have had, something that changed you forever, and just be with that memory. Feel the emotions you feel, just stay with it. Visualize it with as much detail as possible. Now, I want to ask you 3 questions regarding this. Firstly, did what happened to you, was it objectively true? Or is it just something which is diluted by feeling? Because if you feel angry while remembering that memory, you'll start adding details. You'll be like, this person did not look at me the right way. They already had bad intentions for me. And that is how our brain works. Because when you remember something, you are not remembering the actual event. You are remembering the last time you remembered this event. So this is first question to ask. Second question to ask is, what is a positive spin I can put on this memory? Of course, you won't get the answer right away. It's impossible. Neither will you get it in the next hour. But if you stay with this question for your entire day, it will come to you. Let me give you an example. Let's say an 8-year-old girl is going to the stage for the first time to speak. And as she's speaking, her mic doesn't work. I think something similar is happening to me right now. But as she is speaking, her mic stops working. And then when it comes back, she is all nervous. She starts to stutter. So her teacher says, sorry, Geeta, you cannot be a good public speaker. Please, can the next student come in? And now Geeta can choose to interpret this 2 ways. She can either tell herself that, oh, I'm a bad speaker. I can never do this. This is just something I am. I'm stuck with this. Or she can tell herself what happened objectively. The mic not working is not her fault. So if she is able to come out of this, then she will try again. So what is the positive spin Geeta could put in her story? She could tell herself that, okay, I am finally in a place where I at least tried hard and I put in all the courage. Even if it didn't work out, I was courageous enough to go and give my first speech. So find your positive spin. And the third thing for you to do. Now, this is very important. What are some traits you started identifying with after this event occurred in your life? Like when I had social anxiety and I went through bullying and all of that, I thought I was dumb. I thought I was embarrassing. I thought I had to make loneliness my only friend. And these were the beliefs I grew up with. So ask yourself, what are some beliefs you are carrying right now? So now let's go back to the story. What happened? So I told myself, right, I want to get rejected as many times as possible. How does a 10th grader back then get rejected as many times as possible? I used to go to everybody and say, hey, do you want to watch a movie with me? Even if my hands were shivering. And of course, naturally, I got some no's, but I also got yeses. But there are only so many movies I could afford with these empty pockets and the pocket money of a 10th grader. So I thought, okay, let's get back to the drawing board. Let's understand what else can you do to get rejected. So I thought, public speaking. Public speaking is a wonderful way for people to get rejected by the masses. So even though no part of my body wanted to do public speaking, when the teacher used to ask, do you want to go for your speech or presentation? Yes, ma'am, I'll do. You don't look like you'll do it better. Oh, no, I'll do it, ma'am. Trust me. And that is how I got better at public speaking itself. But now there's something interesting happened. I started to identify with new traits. I thought of myself as creative. I thought of myself as curious and even confident. This was the first time I was feeling confidence. But confidence is nothing like they show you in the Bollywood movies. In Bollywood, confidence is like this. Hi, I'm Raj, naam to suna hoga. But that's not what real confidence is. Confidence is the ability to trust yourself. Even if life throws a couple of punches at you, you will be okay. And as long as you trust yourself regarding this, you're confident, my friend. Now it was time to rise. I told myself, what stomach churning things can I do which physically hurts me when I get rejected? Then I thought, why don't I start a business? And that is what I did. I called up my friend and said, hey, let's start a business. We'll start pitching to founders and we'll tell them we will sell your product or service to everybody in exchange for a commission. We called it pitchers. We did this for 2 months, 4 months, 6 months. And then what happened? After that, we got the opportunity to pitch to 3 founders who had an individual net worth of 100 CR each. One was from a beverage brand, one had a mining company, and the third had an engineering firm. Now, like, Sumit, you've made it in life, finally. But then it wasn't enough. How else can I get rejected? I thought. Okay, Sumit, you've become decent at public speaking. Why don't you try teaching people public speaking? That is what I did. I became a coach at 21. And now things are going well. I'm 23 and giving this TED talk. Really happy to be here. I know you guys just had lunch, so you guys are a little bit sleepy. But besides that. And then I thought another way to get rejected is let me start a podcast and let me invite the coolest guests I can think of. So I did that. No. Yes. Who said yes? An actor who I'd seen a couple of films of said, I would love to be on your podcast, Sumit. And I was like, what? Really? I called him and I was genuinely starstruck. I was so happy. And we had that podcast. I ended up writing 2 books as well. So what do we understand from this? This was the time where you can redefine yourself, reinvent, and then rise to the occasion. Once you're okay with embarrassing yourself. If you say yes to embarrassment, anything is possible. Now, back to the part where I told you I will teach you how to deal with your emotions. How do we do that? A couple of things about emotions. Again, close your eyes and visualize a beach. Whether this beach is in Goa, Andaman, wherever. Think of those waves. Just like that, your emotions are in waves. Nothing is going to stay. Have you ever felt angry for an entire year straight with the same intensity? No, you haven't. Because again, this too shall pass. You have to remember that. Second thing is your emotions are your friends. Now, do you tell your friend to get lost the moment they come into your house? No, but why do you do that to your emotions? The moment we feel sad, frustrated, we feel like we want to cry, we open Netflix, we open a tub of ice cream, and that is how we sort that out. But this is not a healthy way of coping with your emotions. A better way is to talk to your emotions. How do we talk to our emotions? Here are three things you can do. First, your emotions are in your body, not in your mind. So feel it. Where do you feel it in your body? You feel it in your stomach, your chest, your throat, your head. It can be anywhere. Then focus on that feeling in your body. The second thing is you have to label this emotion. It's not just that I'm feeling anxious or I'm feeling angry. That is not enough. You have to label it as I'm feeling anxious because I have to ask my boss for a raise tomorrow. I'm feeling angry because my parents don't understand me. It can be whatever. So label it as specifically as possible. And then for the third and final thing, close your eyes, breathe slowly into your stomach, and tell yourself, I am going to deal with this emotion. I'm not going to let this emotion define the rest of my day. Do this for the next 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and magic will start to happen. You will finally see the emotion fading away, whether it's anger, sadness, anything. But if you suppress it, let's say you felt a lot of frustration, your boss yelled at you, and you just kept suppressing it every single day. What happens? One day you explode. One day you become violent, aggressive. That's why you have to start talking to your emotions. This is my story. And one key takeaway that I want all of you to do when you wake up tomorrow is challenge yourself and ask yourself, how can I get rejected today? So, you all have been a wonderful audience. Thank you for listening.